Imagine a woman who became one of Hollywood's brightest and most unforgettable stars and gave it all up to become a princess. Grace Kelly. The graceful and beautiful daughter of the Kelly family, Hollywood's never-ending star, an icon who made the Kingdom of Monaco what it is today. Are you ready to follow her tragic life story full of love, pain, fame, success, and disappointment? The legendary news begins. In November 1929, a 20-room mansion in Philadelphia rings with the sound of a newborn baby. This baby is the third child of the Kelly family, and they name this lovely baby Grace Patricia. Grace, who was very shy and timid in her childhood unlike her siblings, goes to Balmoral Dance School with the encouragement of her mother to overcome this. She further develops herself with the ballet and modern dance training she receives here. During her high school years, Grace overcomes her shyness to a great extent and becomes the sought-after star of the school plays. According to her father, however, theatre was an unacceptable and morally questionable career. These years would be the first years of tension between Grace and her father. Despite her family's opposition, she decides to apply to the American Academy of Dramatic Art in 1947. But she encounters a setback. Grace was late for that year and was told that the quota for the semester was full. In the meantime, her uncle George Kelly, a Pulitzer Prize-winning well-known Broadway writer and director, stepped in and Grace was given an interview. At the auditions, she performs a scene from a play by her uncle and impresses the judges with her acting strength and talent. After being accepted to the Academy, her father, although he did not support her decision, placed her in the Barbizon Hotel for Women, which he considered a safe place in Manhattan. Her father pays only for her living expenses, but he is not generous with her allowance, and for the first time in her life, Grace is short of money. During this period, she posed in various advertising campaigns and starred in theatre posters to promote Broadway plays. Grace, who was depicted in the background as a girl with glasses and a thin body in loose sweaters, who was not noticed by her friends as a beauty in her high school years, turns into a swan in these years, almost like in the tale of the ugly duckling. When she appears on screen for the first time, those who see this glittering transformation cannot believe their eyes. A completely different Grace emerges as a radiant star. It's like watching a true Cinderella story. During these years, Grace's rebellious side slowly emerges and begins to take over her life. She starts dating Don Richardson, a theatre professor. When Grace brings him home to meet her family, the encounter ends in disaster. After graduating from school, she takes small roles in television series. She attracted the attention of many Hollywood directors and producers. She first played a small role in the movie 14 Hours in 1951. Grace got her first leading role in the movie High Noon with Gary Cooper in 1952. And this movie helped her to quickly climb the steps on the road to success. It was also the beginning of her romantic relationships with older and married men in her personal life. Her love affair with Gary Cooper was also the beginning of her reflecting her search for a father figure, which was missing in her life in her relationships. In her next movie, Mogambo, she would go to Africa with Clark Gable and leave a question mark in minds with her answer to reporters who asked her if there was a romance between them. What else could happen in a tent in Africa with Clark Gable? She is reported to have love affairs with everyone she makes movies with. All her co-stars found it difficult to resist her beauty. According to a rumor, James Stewart, her co-star in the movie Rear Window, also had a great admiration for her during the filming. But James Stewart's wife did not leave him alone on the set and prevented such a love from emerging. Grace will not succeed this time. Although she was mentioned in the media with these scandals, this did not affect her successful career and acting at all. After the movie Magambo, she attracted the attention of famous director Alfred Hitchcock. This mysterious-looking, cold-blooded, elegant, perfect icy blonde with a mysterious look impressed Hitchcock, and Grace became an indispensable actress in many of his important films. Hitchcock idealized Grace Kelly as a goddess of cinema. Everyone is aware that Hitchcock was platonically attached to the beautiful blonde. Grace Kelly became even more stellar by starring in Alfred Hitchcock's films Dial M for Murder, Rear Window and To Catch a Thief, and wrote her name in Hollywood in golden letters. Meanwhile, she also had a serious relationship with fashion designer Oleg Cassini. However, he was also rejected by Grace's family. According to a rumor, Grace is pregnant and has to have an abortion to avoid a scandal. This event will affect Grace deeply and leave irreparable scars on her future life. In addition to her beauty and grace, Grace Kelly is a very successful actress. She won the Oscar for Best Actress and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress for her brilliant performance in the 1954 film Country Girl. Meanwhile, Grace's love affair with Bing Crosby, her co-star in Country Girl, attracted attention and increased the whispers in the tabloid columns. However, Grace's affair doesn't last long. Despite the turbulence of these personal relationships, Grace's image as Hollywood's golden girl is never tarnished. Grace Kelly is one of those rare people who, no matter what, manage to captivate audiences and fans, becoming one of the most enigmatic and brilliant stars of her time. The year is 1956. Meanwhile, in Monaco, a small principality in Europe, Prince Rainier of Monaco is looking for a solution to save his pension. Because if he does not marry and give birth to an heir, he is in danger of losing his pension. According to the agreements with France, if no heir is born in Monaco, the Monaco pence will pass to the French Republic. In addition, the war has just ended and the principality is in financial difficulties. In the meantime, his advisors offer him an interesting suggestion to get out of this situation. Accordingly, if the prince were to marry a famous American star from Hollywood, it would be good publicity for Monaco and would bring Monaco back to its glory days. It would also strengthen Monaco's future, economically and politically. For this purpose, the advisors evaluated many famous stars of the period such as Ava Gardner and Marilyn Monroe. In the end, Grace Kelly was chosen because of her elegance, beauty, worldwide popularity, and the international attention she would bring to Monaco. For Grace, this decision, taken without her knowledge at first, will be the turning point of her life. For good, for the bad? It is debatable. For some, being a princess can be an attractive lifestyle. But is that what it was for Grace? Or was this the beginning of a glittering horror story? Let's dive into this life story and find out. Grace and Prince Rainier meet for the first time in 1955 during the Cannes Film Festival. At first, Grace is not keen on the meeting. What begins as a seemingly ordinary meeting quickly turns into a whirlwind romance, drawing the world's attention to this small European principality. But before Grace Kelly conquered Prince Rainier's heart, the prince had another Hollywood star in his heart: Marilyn Monroe. The handsome nobleman adored this star, who was very attractive and a symbol. Marilyn was told that Prince Rainier of Monaco was looking for a bride. Although not seriously interested, Monroe couldn't resist making a cheeky comment. In his self-confidence and in jest, he utters the famous phrase, "Give me 2 days and he would have fallen in love with me." On Grace and Rainier's wedding day, Monroe sends a telegram to Grace. This one line spoke volumes. Marilyn was congratulating Grace for choosing such a life instead of fame. Perhaps, if she had been in Grace's shoes, her life would have taken a different turn. Perhaps she would not have died alone and unhappy at the age of 36, at the height of her beauty and fame. Who knows? This is what fate looks like. As a result of the arrangements made, Grace agrees to meet Prince Rainier at the Monaco Palace, and Grace's fate takes an irreversible turn. Prince Rainier's decision to marry Grace Kelly is not only a romantic choice, but also a strategic move, which Grace unfortunately realizes too late. After their first meeting, Grace is very impressed by the prince, and the two begin to correspond. They correspond for 7 months. On Christmas, December 25th, 1955, Grace invites Rainier to her family home and charms him with her humble and elegant personality behind her down-to-earth, glamorous appearance. As an intelligent and charismatic courtier, Rainier gets full marks from Grace's family. At the end of that day, Prince Rainier proposes to Grace. When the official engagement is announced on January the 5th, 1956, in the garden of the Kelly mansion, the Kelly family is overjoyed to have finally found a son-in-law worthy of their daughter. Grace Kelly's last film, High Society, is a fitting farewell to her career. In the movie, Grace Kelly portrayed a high-class socialite on the verge of marriage. During the filming of this movie, reminiscent of her real-life journey, she prepares for the upcoming royal wedding by wearing her 1047-carat engagement ring. On April 18th, 1956, Grace Kelly goes from movie actress to princess. The official wedding takes place in a small ceremony in the throne room of the princely palace of Monaco. Grace enchants everyone with her pink suit designed by Helen Rose as a sign of elegance and grace. On April 19th, when she enters the cathedral for the religious ceremony at St. Nicholas Cathedral, in her iconic wedding dress that is still imitated today, Grace requests a special wedding dress design for her wedding. Her wedding dress was designed by Helen Rose, the costume designer of the MGM studio in Hollywood. Helen Rose designed an elegant, sophisticated and elegantly simple wedding dress that suited Grace's style. 36 people work day and night to sew the wedding dress, which is hand-sewn over 6 weeks. Ivory-coloured 150-year-old lace was specially imported from France and Ireland. For the skirt of the wedding dress, 23 meters of silk taffeta was used. Since she is Catholic, the wedding dress with a high collar and long sleeves complements Grace's noble stance. To complete the look, the veil is decorated with thousands of tiny pearls, each one hand-sewn by hand. At the wedding, Grace wore a pearl and diamond necklace, a gift from Prince Rainier. A minimalist bouquet of pearls and small roses completed the bridal bouquet. This iconic wedding dress, which today is kept in the official collection of the Principality of Monaco, set the standard for bridal fashion and still continues to do so. In fact, many royal brides today, such as Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle, have been inspired by Grace's wedding dress. Under the gaze of the world, Grace steps into an environment completely foreign to her. The ceremony becomes a media frenzy. 600 guests attended the ceremony, which was watched live on television by 30 million viewers around the world. More than 1,500 journalists flocked to the wedding, and Grace was unable to fully enjoy her special day. The greeting of the prince and a princess from the balcony after the wedding is still remembered today as an unforgettable image. The facts behind this lavish wedding are truly amazing. In order to make this wedding possible, Grace brought her savings of $2 million at that time and her inheritance from her father to Monaco as dowry. On April 19, 1956, they honeymooned in the Mediterranean on Prince Rainer's private yacht. For 7 weeks, they spend a wonderful honeymoon in Mediterranean cities such as Barcelona, Cannes, Saint-Tropez, Naples, and Athens. Their last stop is the island of Corfu in Greece. They stay here for 10 days. When Grace finds out that she is pregnant here, they will have to end their 7-week honeymoon. This honeymoon goes down in history as both a love story and a marketing move that reinforced Monaco's image of luxury tourism. Grace's elegance contributes to the promotion of the country in every port of call. It turns Monaco into a symbol of luxury. As in fairy tales, the saying that they lived happily ever after is unfortunately not true for Grace. Gradually, Grace begins to realize that her new life is more like the beginning of a nightmare than a fairy tale. Her husband, Prince Rainer, tries to erase her Hollywood past. The first thing he does is to ban the screening of all Grace's movies in Monaco. This shattering of the values Grace has worked hard for and loved all her life, her profession, which she loves so much and which is part of her identity, is a devastating blow for Grace. She feels like she has lost her way and is in a suffocating prison. In contrast to her dazzling public persona as a princess, she becomes depressed. Torn between her royal and protocol duties, she longs for the happy and free days of old. Would she have dived into this glittering fairy tale if she had known in advance that this would happen? It's a big question mark. She tries to escape the pressures of royal life by visiting orphanages, reading stories to the children and bringing them small gifts. In 1957, she welcomed her first child, daughter Princess Caroline, followed by Prince Albert in 1958. Thanks to her children, she seems to have gotten used to her new role in this very different second period of her life, and to have taken it for granted. Her glamorous period as an actress in Hollywood was now over and her life entered a new phase, a sharp departure from the first period of her life. The paparazzis now photograph her as a mother, playing with her children. In the 1960s, Grace experiences a series of painful events. She loses her father, one of her biggest supporters. Rainer, known for his reserved and cold demeanor, is unable to support her as she would like, and Grace finds it difficult to find the strength to continue her marriage. Meanwhile, Alfred Hitchcock made several movie offers to Grace Kelly after she became Princess of Monaco. The most famous is Hitchcock's Marnie. Hitchcock wrote this movie for Grace, and in 1962 he went to Monaco with this script and encouraged Grace to act in this movie. At first, Grace approached this project positively with a longing for the old days and examined the script. However, due to public pressure and Prince Rainer's coldness towards the project, Kelly had to politely decline the offer. In 1965, Princess Grace takes her third child, Stephanie, into her arms. She realizes that she cannot go back to the old days completely. she quietly accepts her role as a princess and continues her life as a mother with her children. Until the morning of that tragic day, September 13th, 1982. On the morning of that day, Grace Kelly was traveling with her 17-year-old daughter, Princess Stephanie, on a narrow and winding road in the Monaco countryside when she lost control of the steering wheel and the car plunged about 40 meters down a cliff. When news of the accident reaches the palace falls silent. The phones stop ringing. Messengers spread the tragic news all over the world. While her daughter Stephanie escaped with minor injuries, she was seriously injured and taken to intensive care in Monaco Hospital. The whole world held its breath and prayed for this unforgettable movie star and princess. On the morning of September the 14th, Prince Rainier makes the most difficult decision of his life. Princess Grace's life support is terminated. The heart of this perfect actress and kind-hearted princess, adored by the whole world, is silenced forever, leaving behind thousands of admirers weeping for her. The palace is in mourning, not just a princess, but a wife, a mother. An icon had been lost. Her body is brought to the palace. A silent ceremony is held inside, attended only by the family. On September 18th, the Cathedral of St. Nicholas of Monaco opens for Grace. A large funeral service is organised, attended by more than 400 guests. Representatives of ancient European royal families, Hollywood friends like Cary Grant, famous personalities like Nancy Reagan and Danielle Mitterrand attended the funeral. All eyes are focused on the simple coffin, covered with a velvet cloth. Prayers echo between the black walls. Her tombstone is also quite simple, reflecting her taste. Monaco changed after Grace. Her elegance becomes a culture. Her mark is indelible in the world of fashion, on the silver screen and in princess tales. Grace Kelly was a star, but not from the sky. She was a Grace that walked between two worlds, that was both dream and reality, that touched people's hearts with her smile. When she disappeared, the world became a little quieter. This wonderful personality is still whispered about in Monaco. Her name, La Princesse Éternelle, the Eternal Princess.